Hello, Chris. Welcome to the Simply Sell podcast. How's it going today?
Doing great. How you doing, Brian?
Well, good. I'm doing really, really good. I'm so excited to be on this call with you. Real quick before we get started, I wanted to share a quick story, which I'm going to kind of humiliate myself with you. But our first meeting that we ever had together at that restaurant in Atlanta, I left that meeting and realized my shirt was on inside out.
I never noticed.
Well, good. I'm glad. I was like, man, either he's really a nice guy and didn't want to embarrass me, or you know what, he just didn't know. So now I know. So I've already gotten something out of this podcast before we even get started. So Chris, like I said, welcome to the podcast. You are a steel industry veteran. This podcast is focused on sales leadership, and wanted to just basically get some insight from you with regard to what sales leadership looks like. Now, before I ask you to tell the audience and myself a little bit about yourself, I wanted to share some quotes from people that you've impacted in the industry. They say more than you're just a great guy. Everybody's a great guy in our industry. We all like each other. But here's a couple quotes I got from people you've worked with. The first quote I got, it says, "What makes Chris Shipp a great mentor isn't his vast industry knowledge, but is his curiosity to seek out new innovations and surround himself with people from diverse backgrounds. His willingness to allow others to find their voice and grow alongside him, which makes the next generation of steel better overall. I am better for knowing him. I'm glad he has fueled my passion for steel along with countless others. It's still crazy that I was a bartender less than 5 years ago and now can't imagine doing anything other than metal." So that was the first one. And here's the second one. This was a really good one too. "I've had the privilege of working with Chris for over 10 years, and in that time he has been a leader, mentor, and friend. He leads by example, always putting his team first, and pushes you every day to be the best version of yourself. I've learned more from him about leadership and the steel business than I ever could have imagined. But what I value most is his friendship. No matter the time or reason, I can call Chris and he'll offer guidance rooted in wisdom and faith. I appreciate him tremendously, and I'm proud to know him." I mean, those are some strong comments from people. So you have this way of leading people, and they just follow you, and I think that's incredible in this day and age. So moving forward, I know you have a nickname called Chief, but tell me a little bit about yourself, and then also where did that nickname Chief come from?
Sure. Yeah. First off, thanks, Brian. Again, appreciate it. I've been blessed to those quotes are very humbling. Been blessed to have some amazing people I've been involved with over the years of my career. So it's very humbling. First and foremost, look, I live here in Texas. Got a small ranch in Texas. I grew up in Texas. Joined the military at 18 years old. Served our country for 22 years. Rode ships and submarines, involved in intelligence special ops side, and learned a lot. When you're in difficult situations, you learn really a lot about what team truly means. First off, I mean, I've been I'm married to an amazing woman, Rita. We've got collectively together 4 kids and 12 grandkids, and keeps us pretty busy. But I'm blessed, and outside of work, I love to hunt and fish and ride side by sides, and just enjoy life, and really have learned how to recharge over the years as well. So, but yeah, just to spend time. We got some land in Arkansas we ride as well, and so yeah, and then I've been in the metals industry for, oh goodness, 16, 17 years now. So I got out of the military, came back home, and met a man called Bill Preifert, and was blessed to be a part of the Preifert family of businesses for a long time. And so I was fortunate to stand up a service center and build some things from scratch, and which were fun and exciting. And but yeah, just been in the I love the metals industry. I won't leave it. I've had opportunities to, but it's just in my blood as well. And I've been blessed to be a part of an amazing industry.
Well, with regard to your military service, which by the way, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
How did that prepare you for the business world? I know you were in the military, like you said, for a number of years prior to starting your business career. You know, sometimes the transition to the business world from the military for some people can be a struggle. Did you have any challenges making that change?
Yes, I did actually. It was, having joined when I was 18. I mean, that's all I knew was the military. And so, you know, I, I knew I'd learned a lot about leadership and what that means. One team, one fight, all those things. We all bleed red. So it never matters. Who, man, woman, no matter what race. I don't have blinders on with all of that. I just, again, it's just I see they're people. And but one of the challenges I really had that I didn't really think about was, in the military you don't worry about pay for your folks, right? And so you don't you look, we work and sometimes 7 days a week, 18 plus hours a day, and you're on mission and deployed, and pay is nothing you worry about. And so when I transitioned and took over a team pretty quickly, it was a struggle because things weren't done. And in the military, you work till things are done, till you get to a point that you get to hand it off, or so you can go home. And that was a struggle for me when I had hourly employees and I had some salary. And so I remember my CFO, who was prior military at Preferred, David Smith. I remember going in one day and said, "Look, I want all my folks' salary. 'Cause I don't like this hourly thing." And so, because we couldn't do overtime, kind of overtime gets dictated, right? And so,
Right.
so I was like, I want them all salary because, they're leaving and the work's not done. And so that was something I had to really understand and learn in my transition. That was a little challenging because that was, again, I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to a lot of the, we didn't, about benefits and things like that. We deployed a lot in my career when I was in the military, and you know, when you get back from deployment, you take care of your people, right? And that's where a lot of that uh, learning for me and leadership really came from. Is I had some amazing leaders that I still keep in touch with through my career. I just talked to one the other day, an Army colonel that I was blessed to serve with on some stuff, and yeah, it's you just I knew that aspect. It wasn't, but it's all those little things that most civilians are used to, right, dealing with, and we just weren't in the military.
Interesting. Okay. I never thought about that. That's the whole salary thing, and now with work life balance in the military there is no work life balance. You get that job done or you just keep working. So today it's a big
Yeah,
difference right now. So
yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
that's I learned something right now. That's interesting. So I want to dive right into the sales leadership piece of this podcast. I see the term all the time, servant leadership, thrown around a lot lately. It is thrown around a lot. So tell the audience and myself what servant leadership means to you.
Sure. I'll say I agree with you. It's servant leadership is often used but not understood from my perspective, and I do see a lot of people saying or just talking about it in our industry, but haven't seen a lot of it, to be quite honest, from my perspective. So for me, I mean, servant leadership, I kind of take it more as like a radical act of leading by placing yourself last, and so that others can rise fast, and placing them first. And so, I learned in the military, that people who feel ownership, people who buy into what you're doing, right? And so there's a passion, there's a certain level of passion, there's a certain level of commitment that comes with that. And I've always in my civilian career is building a service center from scratch, and made sure all my folks felt like they had ownership, and so and worked real hard that it's all about the team. And we kind of had a saying at Rebus, our Rebus logistics side is about the team, and so it's about the team. It's when you're operating together as a team, and people see from a leader that how much you care. Doesn't matter. Again, we have the business side of it, but people's lives are way much larger than business. It's their families, and so getting just to understand them and what they're going through, their challenges, and being there for them when you get that call at, 11 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning, if somebody just needs to talk. I mean, to me, that's it's always being there for them. But to me, it's servant leadership is not easy. It is more of a radical side of leading from my perspective. And again, just putting yourself last. When your people do well, when your people grow, when they feel ownership and they run and you get out of their way and let them run and you just move those mountains, it's you'll always be surprised. I've learned that in my career. And when they feel that ownership in it. And I had this saying with my folks is, we kind of had it in the military side. And sometimes as a leader, I got to run through that brick wall first. I need you to follow me. But as soon as I get on the other side of that brick wall, I want you to run beside me, not behind me. Not you. Good luck trying to run in front of me, right? I always had to, there's always a part of the pride and passion that you have as an individual, but just run beside me and let's get after it and run together. And I think that's what servant leadership is all about. It's because when they do well, they excel, they grow. You're automatically going to be a part of that success, right? And so just put them first.
Wow, that's that is impactful. And it's funny that you say that because that's the impression that I get is that you put the people first before you, and it takes somebody that is secure with themselves and is able to put their ego aside to go ahead and let others shine. So that's awesome for you and for the people that you work with. So switching gears to today, may be the most challenging business environment we have seen in years for leaders. You have people working remotely. There seems to be a lots of meetings these days. Lots of meetings. Staffing is an issue. I like to say the word or the terms that we're over meeting and understaffed. It seems like you could potentially have three different groups of generations on one team. You could have a baby boomer group, you have a Gen X, and then you could have a Gen Z all on one team. So how do you keep your teams focused, the amount of distractions out there, along with the different working styles of each generation?
Yeah, so great question. It is definitely challenging. My first, you know, 12, 13 years when I retired from the military and was in an office environment, and then, going to work for Rebus was, a big change because you had a lot of your folks that were remote, and obviously with COVID that changed a lot. I think the um, empowering your people is very important no matter what generation they come from, right? And so again, leading people is sometimes a little bit different if it's someone who's later in their career versus someone just getting started. So they all have different experiences and aspects, and whether it's technology just itself can be a challenge to those that have been in the industry a long time that are, I would say, maybe slower to change from that aspect. But I think it's um, the meeting thing is something that I had an admiral once tell me when I was working in the DC area on one of my political tours was, if we can't make a decision in 30 minutes, we shouldn't be having this meeting at all. And, I think that rings true. It's very important to, I always have a habit of when someone's not needed in a meeting or they're done, and I really encourage them to drop off and go do what they need to do. And I think that's critical from a leader perspective to be able to try to manage, especially the remote aspect. But the remote managing leading remote is definitely a challenge. It's from the aspect of we all talk about work-life balance, we talk about all these things as people have flexibility, but at the end of the day, as a leader, you've got to we're running a business, and we can't forget that, and we have to run a business. And I always had this saying is all I expect you to do is work 40 hours a week. That's what I pay you for. And so understandingly that we have to balance some things in our lives that changed especially after COVID. I just want the 40 hours and not 20. And so I think, I think that the interesting thing with in this environment is, you know, how do you handle it when you do have someone you have a problem with, right? So these are things as leaders you haven't experienced much of. Someone doesn't show up at the office, and that's one thing. And but someone who's not putting in the time, you can easily tell. Then how do you handle as leader? So it's created some interesting ways that you have to think through things to lead people and to get them on board. One thing I love about Rebus, what we had was, we when we had someone that's struggling, right, and we called it performance improvement plans. And so my whole goal was to get somebody heading in the right direction, not to give up on them. And because as a human, from my perspective as a leader, I remember the first time I had to give up on somebody and let somebody go. That was very hard because you feel like a failure as a leader. But one thing I've learned is if I give them the opportunities and the time to be able to try to help them become better or whatever the deficiencies may be, and put that energy into them. And we had 65% success rate of people kind of heading in a different direction, turning things around at Rebus that we had some struggles with. And but then at that point, I knew, after 30 days, 45 days, depending upon you go through that process. Um, if I had to let somebody go, then I could lay my head down at night and said, you know what, I gave it a shot because there's a lot on them, more on them than on me. But I'm going to give that extra effort to make sure. And I think the remote environment makes it very challenging because we're results oriented, right? And so that's that that's kind of the benchmark when you're remote is the results oriented. So, but that's how for me, it's the more you can have less meetings and those things to empower people. You're less about commanding the outcomes and more about cultivating people. And I think that's they earn trust, and that's the pieces I think that help no matter what generation you're in.
So 60 to 65% success rate on the PIP. That is really incredible because when people think of PIP, that connotation, if you will, is, oh my God, they're setting me up to be fired. But you're actually flipping it and turning it into, hey, I'm here to help you. We got to
Sure.
set up a PIP plan or performance improvement plan, and I'm here to help you, not set you up to with HR to be fired. So
Yeah, yeah, it
that's
is.
good.
Yeah, it is. I think it's when you start off from the very beginning and try to make sure and help them understand that, look, I want you to be successful. I want you to do great things. And when you put the time and the energy and they see that from you, now there are times, and I'm going to meet 3 times a week, right? We're going to have some more meetings, right? But those are positive things. I'm going to jump on calls with you, right? And so those are things I call it getting in the weeds as a leader. I love to
Right.
get in the weeds, with my folks, and that's a good time to get in the weeds. Is to look, let's see where you're struggling. Let's see what's going on, and I think that's it's very important. And it was something I hadn't done before, and so at Rebus, John Blount, who's one of the co-founders, it was one of the things that he was very adamant, not want to say adamant about, but very passionate about. And I developed that piece of that passion, and I learned that it was when it didn't work out, I felt so much better inside because I gave that extra energy. I made my leaders focus on them more than normal, and so including myself. And so I think that it goes back to that. Again, you've got to go home at night and feel good about what you've done that day, even if you let somebody go. And that really, I think it was successful because you know they realize you really care, and this is just not. I can kick somebody out the door tomorrow, but that's the easy button, right? And but these are people, and so you treat them like humans, treat them like people, show you care. I mean, to me, it goes back to that's servant leadership.
Really, that's awesome. Okay, I'm learning something new every day here. I'm not the best leader that's out there, so this is really informative for me. So now I know you're looking for your next career opportunity after an amazing run at Rebus. One of the things I found inspiring was you prioritizing helping your teammates get jobs first before focusing on yourself. So you had already mentioned that, hey, you got to help everyone else first, and then I'm last, which kind of segues into this. So tell us a little bit about that. How have you been kind of helping the people that you worked with find jobs at other locations? Obviously, I've seen already two come out of the gate, if not more, finding jobs in other locations, and they seem pretty happy. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I've been blessed in my life, right? And so I don't live paycheck to paycheck, and but some people do. And so I think from my perspective was, look, we had I had some people that followed me to Rebus. I hired a lot of people as well in that time period, and so when they chose to shut down the marketplace, which I'll kind of which May was one of our best months we've ever had when that happened. It's that's my people, right? That's my folks, and so it was very important for me to take care of them, and so not to I shunned calls. I didn't want to talk to anything about what I want to do, or somebody wants to talk to me the first few months. I didn't take any. Um, I didn't want to talk about myself, and so. But because I knew my people, and you go back to get to understand your people more on a personal level, not just professional, is they all have their traits, they all have different things, and so I'm looking across our industry. I'm like, you know what, this person would be a great fit there, and then I pick up the phone and make some calls, right? And so now again, it's not you can't put your name behind everybody, right? And so I had A players, B players, but it's you had an idea of what would really fit them the most. Whether I had one person that was a family run company, and it was an amazing fit for them, and I steered them away from another company first that I didn't think was a fit. Now that's hard because look, at the end of the day, it's a job, right? And so um, but I worked real hard quickly to help them find other options, and I think it's when you can pick up the phone and call some key leaders and say, look, this would be a perfect fit for you, and I think they would do well for you, and here's why. And yeah, so they've all got hired, and yeah, I'm just you know to me, that's again, it goes back to that servant leadership, right? Putting folks first. I think that's it's important. These are my people, right? It's like my team on a mission in the military, right? It was very important to me to focus on them, and now I can start thinking a little bit about myself.
Great. So, last question. Tell us what's next for you. I know you're doing some educating and lecturing of new people coming into the steel industry, some work with CRU and so on and so forth, SMU. So, what is next for you? What do you envision yourself for your next opportunity?
Yeah, and let me first start off talking about the Steel 101 that SMU CRU put on. I enjoy that. Look, it's a way to give back to the industry that I love and I'm passionate about. And when you can touch 50, 60 people a class, it's usually their first few months in our space, in our industry. It's exciting because they learn about the networking and a lot of the things, and learn a little bit about metal, right? But it's the relationships you build. And then I still get calls regularly asking questions, whether it's about procurement or it's about a contract, or those are fun things for me. It really excites me. I enjoy that. I'll keep doing that as long as they'll let me. And interestingly enough, we were actually expanding in the Middle East in December with that class, and so we're going to be in Saudi Arabia and UAE. Looks like we're going to be expanding more international, and so that's fun things. I had my taste of Europe and Middle East at Rebus, running the European side for a little bit, and yeah, it's exciting to be a part of that, and I'm blessed to again just to meet some amazing folks and just to impart some of my knowledge and what I've learned, and some of even some of the tricks of the trade, right? And so it's fun to talk through that. What's next for me? Oh goodness, I'm I'm still trying to find the right fit, right? I think it's important. Look, there's a couple things I really enjoy, right? I love leading people, and I love building things, and so that's whether from scratch or whether it's something that really needs another aspect of. And so that's kind of first and foremost for me is, I could sling metal with the best of them, I think. But I think from an impact perspective, I want to be a part of a team. I want to help people grow and learn. And I want to do kind of what I did at Preferred Steel again, right? Was to really just build something amazing. And Rebus as well. I still, I believe in the marketplace. I think it's going to survive, and someone's going to pick up the ball and run, and this industry will continue to evolve and adapt. But I think that's the biggest thing for me is I just love leading people, and I'm blessed to have. Look, I've got. When you look back on your career, right, and you look at what you put your thumbprint on something, I've got VPs, presidents, senior VPs, GMs that work for me. I mean, I've been blessed to have some amazing folks do some amazing things, and and I've benefited from that. But again, it's all about the people, and I think I want to continue to helping and working with people and helping an organization continue to grow and think outside the box. I think my stint at Rebus, from the technological standpoint, I learned so much from that aspect and dealing with investors, and it changed a lot of my. If I had some of the tools and stuff I had at Rebus when I was running Preferred Steel, I can tell you some of these companies wouldn't have liked me in the South. They'd like me already, but what we were doing, growing quickly, but it's game changers, and our industry's got to continue to evolve with the technology. It's the things we used AI on at Rebus was groundbreaking, and so when you tie all that together, I think I want to be a part of somebody who wants to grow, and I love to run fast, and so I don't want to be complacent, and so I'm a military guy. 1 3 5 year plan, 1 3 5 year plans. Let's get after it, and we're going to exceed those plans, and so that's what I'm looking for. Is I want to be a part of an organization where I can continue to do something I really enjoy, is to lead people and watch them grow and be successful, which in the end helps any company be successful.
Well, whoever gets you is going to be a lucky company. So I wish you nothing but the best. And like I said, whoever gets you is going to get somebody who's going to hit the ground running. So, well, Chris, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I got so much out of this, learning about leadership just for myself, and I'm certain that our audience will as well. So, thank you again for being on the podcast, and we'll probably have you on again soon. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks,
Bye.
Brian. Appreciate it.